Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maria Zamora. I am the Assistant Director for Undocumented Student Services at Rutgers University, Newark, and I'm going to be presenting on undocumented students navigating higher education in New Jersey. So, in order to understand how we can better support our undocumented students, we need to understand what does it mean to be an undocumented individual. And an undocumented immigrant is a person who lacks lawful status granted by federal authorities. And one way to become undocumented is a visa overstay. So an individual comes to the country with a tourist visa, and then they overstay their visa. It's about 6 months. So afterwards, their visa expires and they become undocumented in the States. The second will be an entry without inspection. So that's where our individuals come from both borders, either Canada or Mexico, and there's no lawful entry. So there is no registration of or a stamp of them entering the United States, and there's also no background as to when they left their country of origin. So when we're talking about our undocumented students, especially with what's going on in the news about DACA and the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, that is a specific program that was created for our students that were brought here as children. And what that program entails is it provides a social security number, it provides a work permit, and the ability to get a driver's license. And that program specifically is what we call an EAD holder versus our non-EAD holders. So with our students that are coming in now, our freshmen and sophomores, a lot of them do not have EADs. So they don't have a work authorization number, they don't have a social security number. And that becomes very difficult for our students to even think about, is college an option after high school? Is it even worth me going to a college afterwards? So a lot of our EAD holders are DACA recipients, TPS holders, as well as asylum seekers. And it's you need to understand that all undocumented individuals do not have a pathway to citizenship, but they have different categories where they could have a social security number or a work authorization. Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Welcome. So for our undocumented students, they have a lot of the questions that they're asking is, do we qualify for federal aid? Do they qualify for in-state tuition? What about private scholarships and state aid? So after they graduate, they have many options. They can go either to a community college or to a four-year institution. And I brought this up here just so, in general, if there are going to be educators in the room or parents in the room, to talk about the difference between and pricing. And that usually is the ultimate reason why individuals do not pursue higher education, is because how expensive it is, particularly for our undocumented students, since they don't qualify for federal aid. So for FAFSA, undocumented students do not qualify for FAFSA, but they do qualify for the in-state tuition and New Jersey Alternative Aid application, meaning that federal law does not prohibit states to provide in-state tuition as well as state aid. So for some institutions, or private institutions outside of New Jersey, they do ask for individuals to fill out FAFSA just so there can be a baseline of how much a household income makes, and that way they'll be able to provide a financial aid package. So for individuals that come from mixed status families, so are US citizens but have one parent or both parents who are undocumented, they'll fill out all zeros on FAFSA and an ITIN for HISA. So in-state tuition became law back when Governor Chris Christie was in office, and what it entails is that the student has to attend high school for at least 3 years. They are very lenient right now, and they're still accepting 2.5 years. They need to graduate and have a diploma, and then file an affidavit with the institution that they choose to attend after high school, stating that they will legalize their immigration status when they have the ability to do so. And this is what the affidavit looks like, at least for Rutgers. It would have to, you put your high school, the city where you attended, obviously the state of New Jersey, and the years that you attended. After you graduate high school, you would send over an official transcript to prove that you did graduate. And I linked it here, so if anybody does need it in terms of a PDF, I'll be able to send it out. State aid has the same criteria. The only difference is if you identify as a male, you have to register for selective service. And again, it's 3 years of high school. You have to complete high school, graduate, and then file an affidavit saying that you will legalize your immigration status when you have the ability to do so. But the state and New Jersey, Rutgers also has a policy where they'll accept 2.5 if the student is in the cusp of 2.5 and 3. And this is what the New Jersey Alternative Aid application looks like. The student will create a profile, and this is important where it says Social Security or ITIN. Most of our high school students do not work, or if they do work, they don't make enough to file a tax report that year. So what they'll do is if they do have an ITIN, they'll place it, but if they do not, HISA will provide a customer ID, and they'll use that same ID for all 4 years of college. After they create their profile, they'll go into this screen and they'll be asked a few questions, and they have to say yes to all of these. I mean, if they qualify, they'll say yes to all of these. And the last one is the most important. It says, I am not a citizen or eligible non-citizen. So individuals who think, they might say, but I kind of have a work permit, I do have a social security number, I'm filing for asylum, what does that make me? That's still not a citizen. You do not have a green card, you just have a temporary employment authorization document, which makes you not an eligible citizen. And all of these 4 yeses, and I am not an eligible citizen, is the only way for the system to allow you to continue to file. So after you file for all of the New Jersey Alternative Aid application, you can go to community college or you can go to a 4-year institution, as well as a private institution, and it still allows you to file. There's other options that you can do in terms of how to pay for the rest of your college. And that's where a lot of individuals in, at least high school counselors, don't know about is, since undocumented individuals do not qualify for FAFSA, they feel like there's no way for them to pay for school, but there's options that they have. And one of them is Run to the Top, which is a program where after they file for HISA, after FAFSA, any private or public scholarships, Rutgers University pays for whatever's left over on their term bill. So this is a great program, especially for our undocumented students who do come from low-income families. You have to earn less than $65,000 a year in order to qualify, and you do have to file for the New Jersey Alternative Aid application in order to obtain this scholarship. You also have to be a resident of Newark, East Orange, and Irvington, if I'm not mistaken, or be a transfer student from a community college. The second option is the Dream.US, which is a scholarship for DACA recipients. But since DACA, there's no new applications being accepted for DACA, they have opened it up to solely undocumented individuals. And this is a full scholarship of $25,000 for 2 or 4 years that covers tuition, fees, books, and it's currently only available in Rutgers, Newark, New Brunswick, and Essex County College. Now for our students that do not qualify for in-state tuition, which happens to be our students that only did 1 year of high school, meaning they wouldn't qualify for in-state tuition and they wouldn't qualify for state aid, it becomes very difficult to go to a public institution because the fees will be double, the tuition will be double. So one way to support those students, which is unfortunate because they'll have no ability to work, but in order to obtain a higher education diploma, they'll go into the honors program in Essex County College, which will do a full ride, those full 2 years. and then you will transfer into a private institution where you'll get merit scholarships, where private institutions are very expensive, but if you do come from a low income background and you have very good grades, usually you will get a good financial package for being from both demographics. But Essex County College provides that honors program where they'll pay for the first 2 years, no matter if you are from Essex County or out of county. Another great scholarship would be the Golden Door Scholarship. It is specifically for undocumented students in high school. And those are for the students that, for a lot of our guidance counselors and as educators, we see that they're straight-A students, they're valedictorians, and that you can't comprehend how they're not going to go to college because of their immigration status. So the Golden Door Scholarship is that particular one that gives them hope to go to a private institution. So they partner up with colleges such as Franklin and Marshall, Tufts, Guilford College, many other private institutions where they provide full ride, everywhere from tuition to room and board and food, everything. And even if they don't partner up with that specific college, so some of the students got into Harvard or Princeton, they'll contact Harvard and Princeton and say they'll pay for their tuition. The last one is the Honors Living Learning Community, and that is at Rutgers University, Newark specifically, and it is a social justice cohort where individuals that are very passionate about a specific social justice theme will apply and have an interview process. And if they qualify for HLLC, get accepted, they'll get full room and board. They will have to minor in a social justice, they'll minor in social justice and take classes with their peers. It's a very great program. You have to be either a high school senior or a transfer student. You cannot apply as a sophomore or as a senior. And they don't care about immigration status. And lastly, to wrap everything up, we have some resources at Rutgers University. My office is one of the resources. We're one of the very few offices for undocumented students in the East Coast. There's plenty on the West Coast just because of the demographics in terms of how many undocumented individuals populate in California and Texas. So I'm very, very happy that Chancellor Cantor was able to create this office for our undocumented students. RECAP is the Rutgers Immigrant Community Assistance Project. We offer free legal resources and free legal screenings to all of our students. And we also pay for their DHS fees for DACA. So if they're renewing their DACA, we pay for that $495. We cap it at $500. So if they are applying for their citizenship or they're doing advanced parole, we only do it up to $500. The third one is Immigrants Rising. It is a scholarship-based platform, a entrepreneurship freelancing platform. It definitely helps undocumented individuals with different resources. So if you're looking for scholarships as an undocumented student, that's a great resource. Or if you're learning how to become a freelancer entrepreneur, this is the best way to start. And the last one is My Undocumented Life, which is a blog that was started by a PhD candidate from Harvard. She was undocumented at the time, and she started it just to explain and talk and build community with other undocumented individuals. It's a great platform for our high school students who feel very alone, who maybe never met another undocumented person in their life, and they just read those stories about how it is possible to be successful no matter their immigration status. So this is my contact information. Thank you for coming. So I'm located in Conklin Hall, which is on University Ave. So I'm 175 University Ave, room 241. I recently moved, sorry about that. So I recently moved, it's Conklin 241. And you can follow us on our Instagram page where we do updates about DACA and other immigration policy updates, as well as events that we are having at Rutgers. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.